Welcome. You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. It's always good and wonderful to be here with you Friday mornings. I know it's the Friday after Thanksgiving, and probably some of you are still snoozing back and resting in, and I hope that that is true. But if you're up and are joining us this morning, hit the share button, let somebody else know, and then grab your coffee and your tea and your orange juice and water, and let's talk a spell about gratitude and what happened yesterday. So say good morning to each other. That's the first thing. Say good morning to each other, wish each other well, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to Life is a Sacred Journey. I realize I look like I'm like dressed in all this stuff. I was cold, so I've got my shirt on with the hands in it, and I've got my fake fur poncho on. So I look like a talking head. So excuse me. I was cold. I still am. So welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey. I am your host, Micheal Pope. And every week we come with guests. Every once in a while, we have a guest that comes and talks about caregiving, self-help, health, all those kinds of things. And then I get an opportunity to share some of my ponderings with you. And I call them ponderings because that's what I do. I ponder life. I ponder stuff. Please know they are my ponderings, and I don't expect anybody to agree with me. I do expect a lot of people possibly to disagree, but when you do, be kind and know that, you know, all of us that come on these kind of platforms are really just sharing our opinions and sharing our life experiences so that you can just kind of take that information, see if it compares, if it can help in any way, but not to be attacked and to be treated cruelly because our ideas are different from yours. So thank you so much to all of you that come back every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Felicia and I and the crew that make up Micheal Pope Productions are so excited that you do that. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving day, that you ate well, and that you're going to save money today and not do too much shopping. I know you're being called to do that. So welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey. So does giving thanks make you happier? That's the pondering question of today. Does giving thanks make you happier? Write in the chat. Have a discussion among yourselves as I move through this discussion this morning. So I think it does. I actually did some homework last night and looked at some articles, read some articles, listened to a great number of TED Talks, and actually went back to a couple of Life is a Sacred Journey's guests who were here talking about a gratitude attitude or starting a gratitude journal to look at gratitude as something that, yes, Thanksgiving, we practice Thanksgiving. And thank you to all the people who reminded me that for some, Thanksgiving is really, really important because it may be the only time they get to spend with family and friends, or it may, it's their time that they really focus in on it. I was saying that I feel like we really need to practice that Thanksgiving spirit and gratitude spirit every single day, because it really, now that we've lived through this isolation of the pandemic and all of these things, we really, 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 really want to be able to try to move forward in a different way. And maybe, like Dawn Renee said, maybe it does start with us, like all the folks, Kathy Kamai, Be the Change, all these kinds of sort of affirmations and ideas from people who ponder, or people who are trying to live life practices or live their lives in a way where they're focusing on the inner self. there's so much to learn from that. I forgot to bring the book this morning, but I just purchased Michelle Obama's book, the new one. And it just, again, talking about things that you've heard before, heard things that we've heard from other people, but from her perspective about how to focus in on the fruits of our lives, how to focus in on the good of our lives, how to focus in on the good in each other. I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week, I don't know, but I was a part of a process that made me realize that I'm very sensitive to the negative energy, that when any form of negative energy, and I think we all are, it's just some of us more than others, but I think we all are, and we're affected, impacted, we're changed by it. And to be in an environment where negative energy is the primary fuel in the space, for some of us, it really makes us sick. It affects our immune system. For all of us, it affects our immune system. So when we practice gratitude and focus on the good, and somebody said to me, but Michelle, when you're struggling, it's hard to focus in on the good. And I said, oh, absolutely, been there. As I've said to many of you, and those of you who know me personally, I'm living probably the better season of my life as it relates to who I am and how I walk in the world and how I embrace myself and love myself than any time in my life. And I think a part of that is I've gotten older. I've had major valleys in my life that I've struggled out of. Even when there was somebody at the bottom pulling me down by my ankle, I rose, right? You rise up. And so I think those kinds of experiences also help us to have a gratitude attitude, because if we make it through those things, right? You guys know about that. Talk about that in the chat. When you make it through an experience that breaks you to your knees, that, you just feel like somebody came up and was smiling at you, and at the same time just went bam, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. But then when you make it through and make it to the other side of that negative experience, you find yourself really embracing gratitude in a very different way. You're like, wow, I really made it through that. Oh, wow, I really grew from that. Oh, wow, I have something to say about that. Some of us do, some of us don't. That doesn't make it bad, but it's when we get stuck in the darkness, we get stuck there, is when things begin to fall apart for us. And when we begin to not be able to see gratitude in any space. And then if you're a person who is living under any of the oppressed groups, then that oppression creates I'm going to call it a box that you cannot get out of. And then when the lid is on top, it's darker, and then more lids, and it's almost like stacking boxes, and you're inside of them, but you're in the middle, you're in the smallest box, and then other boxes are just stacked on you, and your life becomes something that is hard to live and hard to be grateful for, hard to find joyful. And so I think that's why, for me, that I really focus in on with here at Life is a Sacred Journey. Felicia and I are always looking for ways to uplift joy and try to find a new way of expressing it, a new way of sharing it with you, so that you might think about the possibilities that can bring gratitude into your life, that can bring joy into your life, that can bring acceptance into your life, that you can really begin to be the change that you want to see, and then to live your best self on your own terms and not on the terms of anybody else. Of course, I'm not going to advocate that you go out and break the law, but what I'm saying is I'm advocating for you to live your best life as you say your best life is, not folks who, that tell you, my nose is itching, not folks that tell you what your best self is. Yes, I have mentors and sage and all kinds of folks that fuel into me and give me their opinions and thoughts. But at the end of the day, when I do my list, which I'm getting ready to do, I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. Then I'm all alone with that. Of course, with the universal spirit and all of that, I'm all alone with that when I'm visioning my plan, my self plan. And then by visioning my self plan, thank you, Rob Schallenberger, I am able, Rob and Steve, I am able to then manifest, meaning look for opportunities. I am able to see opportunities, and then I'm not living my life all willy-nilly. It's as they say, I'm living it more by design. So, and then my purpose, the things that are my purpose can bubble up and become the seeds and the miracle grow for my life. But I am living. I know I'm in the winter season of my life, whatever that means, and I know that. I was thinking about it as I was driving home from my being with my family yesterday, and I realized that, because I ponder, that's what I do. And so I think about things that other people find morbid. Like I was thinking well, how many more Thanksgivings, do I have? And just, and not from a morbid place, just from what could I do to make sure that everyone going forward, even though that was the best Thanksgiving ever, how do I make sure that I contribute to the best Thanksgiving ever for my children and for my family? And when I'm participating in those activities, how do I make sure I bring my best self to those moments so that they have memories that they can pass on and say, wow, that was like one of the best, but all of them were good because of this moment or that moment. So I wasn't pondering it from a morbid place. And that's what I find is happening when you practice gratitude. When you practice gratitude, even though you may be thinking about something that somebody else may find negative, morbid, or whatever, I'm looking for the gratitude places, the gratitude window in all of that. I'm not looking to embrace it from a negative place. And even though that space may be negative at that moment, meaning secular-wise, world-wise, and it may even be negative to my mental well-being and physical and all of that heart stuff, looking at it from a place of what do I need to learn? What are the lessons, right? What are the lessons? Looking at it from a place, what can I see in that is good? The fact that I'm pondering it, the fact that I'm thinking about it, the fact that it might create change in me, all of those things are good. Those aren't bad things. They've become bad things because we want quick fixes to things rather than sometimes we have to suffer through stuff in order to have that same level of joy. Dawn Renee and I had that wonderful conversation a couple of weeks ago, and it was about that, how do you, and some of their music, like how do you suffer through the pain so that you can, oh my gosh, feel the joy. So those are some of the ponderings that I've had. I'm going to move on a little bit because I don't want to keep you too long from that wonderful, I hope you're making some great leftover meals today. I know I am. I'm going to have me some stuffing and some gravy. And I'm going to have the turkey wing, my favorite. That's like my favorite part of the turkey. Everything else, well, I'm a chicken wing person too. If I'm going to eat meat of any kind, it's got to be a chicken wing or a turkey wing or fish. Like I consider fish like a protein. So that's it. Anything else I'm not down for. But boy, I can throw down at some chicken wings. So anyway, and so I'm a chicken wing connoisseur. And that makes me happy. And I'm grateful for Wingstop, and I'll practice anyone. Like there's another place near my house where they make chicken wings that are salt. What is it? Salt and vinegar and garlic. Stop and be gone. Delicious and delicious and delicious. So I don't know. I'm a foodie. I love food. So I digress. I think I'm hungry. Okay. So I'm grateful for laughter. I'm grateful that my mind wanders off into all these places and I have imagination. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to all of you out there who come to Life is a Sacred Journey because you want to let your guard down and you just want to be in a place where you're accepted for who you are, and that you know on the other end there's this woman and all these other folks that you can't see around me that are saying, it's okay. Be you, do you, be the best you can be. So thank you for accepting us. And Life is a Sacred Journey as we go into another, wow. Yeah, Felicia, we're getting ready to do another year of Life is a Sacred Journey together. And Felicia and I have some wonderful surprises for you in 2023. And again, we're still looking for 10 people. Put my hands up. 10 people to do Megan Logan's book, the 365, and it's for men or women. So please drop a note, go to the Micheal Pope Productions website, drop a note to Felicia, send me a note if you know me. You're going to have to get the book for us to get it together. And sometime in December, we're going to have to put this together so we can start on January 1, the week of January 1, to really delve into this and go through this year together. And then maybe, just maybe, and we may not, but we may share our experience with all of you once we go through it. So please reach out and let us know if you'd like to be a part of that. So let's move in. Every holiday season, it starts with, for some, it starts with Halloween, because that, I look at it as, I call it the season of decorations, right? I don't know about you. I have a whole thing when the kids were around and we did the trick or treat thing. I mean, Halloween, we started decorating then. Then we would take the Halloween decorations down and put up the fall decorations, and then begin to think about Thanksgiving and then begin to think about Christmas. And then, of course, New Year's has its own decorations. You have hats and whistles. And so it's the time of decorating and showing and expressing how we feel about October 31st through the end of the year. And so yesterday, we celebrated Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a celebration that we learned about in school, and we learned about it from the space of the Pilgrims and our indigenous brothers and sisters coming together for a feast after the Pilgrims went through a long winter of learning how to live in the Americas. We now know that that story is not quite 100% right, and there was a lot of pain and oppression going on. And so we go into Thanksgiving being thankful that we have the opportunity, thank you, Tara, to be with our families and friends. But we also go into it with an understanding that our indigenous brothers and sisters, meaning our humankind that we walk the earth with, may not feel the same way. And I believe also today is Indigenous Day, so that we have an opportunity to really learn about the indigenous culture in a way where we not to get defensive and to say, well, I didn't do this, but to learn. I don't know why we can't learn without feeling like we have to protect ourselves from something that we didn't have a dime in the quarter in. My father taught me that when I was a very young child, because I was defending myself for something that I wasn't even a part of it, but because I felt this sense of obligation to defend myself, my father said to me, do not defend yourself for something that you did not do. And I didn't understand. And then he went in and, he explained, because that's how he was the quiet giant, but boy, when he opened his mouth, he was powerful. He's like, why are you running your mouth and getting all nervous and defending yourself for something that you, first of all, had nothing to do with, and then second of all, that doesn't deserve defending. Wow, doesn't deserve defending if you weren't a part of it. And exploring why you are defending it yourself in it, and really pondering that, because that is the very place where we need to go when we feel some kind of way. For Indigenous folks, when I met my first Indigenous friend and Navajo friend, and he taught me, and I asked a lot of questions, and I had already learned that there were many Black scouts who went out. I'm digressing, just so you know. That went out and really hunted down some of the Indigenous people on behalf of their slave masters, because they were slaves, and so they were being oppressed, but they were being used to being oppressed over another group of people. I said I was sorry for the division that was placed between people of color, Black people, African slaves, and the Indigenous culture, which are very similar cultures, and the root of each other. And that began an open conversation about how I felt about the Indigenous culture and what I needed to learn. I've learned so much. And so I want to just say to my brother Calvin and his wife Sherry, thank you so much for embracing me when I didn't know what I was talking about, and teaching me and continuing to show me the pride of our Indigenous ancestors here in the Americas. So thank you for that. But gratitude again. That's a moment of gratitude, being grateful for something that was a painful experience to learn about my ancestors, possibly. I don't know if they were involved in it or not, but possibly. And learning how its intersection in another culture's life, and how that might have been adverse to another individual, but it's the acknowledgement of it so we can move on as a humanity and be grateful for what we know about each other, and grateful for how far we have come. So how do you cultivate a gratitude attitude? You cultivate it by saying thank you. Remember, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for opening the door. Good morning. How are you today? Smiling at people, nodding your head. Like, I used to love it when men used to, and again, for those individuals that are living in a world where gender, the she, he, they, all of that, when I say I'm living out an experience that it endears me to the period in which I grew. So men, when I was growing up, my father included, they would tip their hat to people that they would pass, tip their hat, because they had contracts that were verbal contracts, handshake contracts, and all of those kinds of things. So people were doing business and communicating in a way. So the tipping of the hat was an acknowledgement of respect. Or when I went to Bali, and what I learned and why you see me do it is this: I'm tipping, I'm bowing my head, I'm centering myself to say, I see you and you are an important individual. So saying thank you, writing thank you notes. I still think writing thank you notes and sending thank you cards is an important thing. Hallmark has not gone out of business. So go and buy some cards. You can even buy them at the 99-cent store. You can make them. Oh my gosh, making cards. What a fabulous thing. So saying thank you to people when they do something, or sometimes just saying thank you for being in my life. They don't have to do anything, but definitely let's teach the next generation how to say thank you, because I think we forgot to teach them how to say thank you in ways that make people feel good. Sometimes it's hard to say thank you to someone physically because schedules don't meet, but thank them mentally. Yes, I said it. Thank them mentally in your head. Just feel the feeling. So right this moment, close your eyes and think about somebody that you want to say thank you to. Envision that individual, see that individual. Come on, you can do it. You can see them. I see them. I see somebody. I see you, Nancy. And I'm thankful for Nancy, and I'm grateful for Nancy. So I can see her, and I'm smiling because I can see her face and how happy she is when we are together, how happy she makes me. So thank somebody in your mind right now. Take a minute. Didn't that feel good? Take a minute to thank someone mentally. Keep a gratitude journal. Somebody was laughing at me. I guess it was this week. I keep forgetting what week day is. So this is my 2022 planner. Okay. It's a mess. Some of these are notes, actually, or Bible verses. Somebody said this to me, and it says, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. I was like, whoa, that is so cool. And then there was another verse. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. Yeah. So it's not just a calendar. It's now got notes and things, and I'll zip it up in February and put it in the journal box that the kids will have to get rid of when I die, or when I journey on to that next place, wherever that is. They'll have to go through all of these and figure out which ones have the gems, but that's their story to tell, not mine. So anyway, journal. It's a journal. It's an appointment book. It's affirmations. It's everything. I write everything down because that's how I come from that generation where we wrote everything and highlighted everything to remember it. And I still do. So keep a journal. Count your blessings. Count the things that are great. Like I have sciatic. All of you know that. And at one point I was walking with a cane and all of that. But every day that my sciatic doesn't hurt like where I have to use a cane or the walking stick that stays in the car, then I am grateful. It does not mean that I'm pain-free. I don't know if I'll ever be pain-free again, but maybe I bring it to me. But not having to walk with the cane, I am grateful. And if the little bit of twinge that I have almost all the time, if that's what I get to live with forever, I'm grateful for it. Because the other option, I wasn't digging that. So, walking with a cane is hard, right? So all those things, meditate, go to the beach. I love that. I was thinking about that. I'm going to look at my calendar and make sure that I don't have anything tomorrow, because I might just go to the beach, take Daisy to the beach. And then work on your emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence has a place where you can find peace and be peaceful in it. And it can affect our lives and foster us to, and I'm working on it because I'm a passionate person. So as happy as I can be is how depressed I'm like, so my whole existence in life is trying to keep myself centered and focused and centered and focused and centered and focused. So gratitude is one of those things that really helps our immune system. We have to practice it every day, even in those moments. And I think this is the one thing before I close, because I'm going to only be with you a half hour this morning on purpose. So you can go back and be with those that you love. Gratitude, even in the moments where somebody is bringing out the just all the worst in you, in your mind, body, and spirit, to find a reason to be grateful for that person, that experience, will help you to overcome and be in a place of gratitude more often, and to maybe hopefully stay in that place of gratitude. Gratitude is hard. It's hard to live in a time where it's not practiced by everybody, right? You know, you don't feel that people are grateful, or you don't see it in a lot of your day-to-day movement. But I say, open your eyes, because it is there. If you listen to a bird sing, I believe birds are singing because they're grateful to be able to sing. I believe the wind is grateful when you feel it on your skin, and it makes your skin and your pores open up and tingle. That's your skin being grateful to feel sensation and to be alive. When your lungs, when you breathe and you breathe it in and you're able to breathe in and blow out, you're grateful. Your lungs are certainly grateful, particularly if you're a person like me that has asthma. I'm grateful for every breath that I take. If you are a person that can't run and you can walk somewhere, you're grateful. If you're a person who can't walk, but somebody comes and helps you to get outside, you're grateful. Do you see what happens? You become grateful for everything. When you open your refrigerator and you look inside your refrigerator and you think that you can't make a meal, but all of a sudden you have some garlic and you have some spaghetti, and maybe you can find a jar of Prego marinara sauce. You're grateful because now you don't have to go to the store, but you can still eat and feel like you created a meal for yourself. Use your imagination. I think imagination is one of the most incredible things to gratitude, because then you can see beyond the moment. You can see beyond that space where you are and move into an attitude of gratitude. So I want to thank you and tell you how grateful I am for each and every one of you. For those of you who I know personally that come to Life is a Sacred Journey and has been supporting our activities from the very beginning. To those of you who have fallen upon us and decided that you like our messaging and what we do, thank you. To those of you who have fallen upon us and said, no, we don't like you, we're leaving, thank you. To all of you that support me behind the scenes and make it possible. Felicia, thank you for everything that you do. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all of you that show up to Life is a Sacred Journey. You give me a reason to show up myself. So thank you for making my Friday mornings a place of gratitude. I hope that you will continue to practice gratitude for every day of your life. Every day of your life, not just Thanksgiving Day, but we are thankful for Thanksgiving Day. So don't go off thinking I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving just because I don't think of it in the same way. Save your money though. Don't spend too much money today. I'm just saying. They said credit card debt is on the rise, so be careful, be careful. The interest rates are really, really high. January will be here and you'll be upset. So don't. You know what? Make something for somebody this year. Paint them a rock. Everybody needs a paperweight in their office. This was a rock that somebody painted for me and gave me. It was one of the young people in my life. And I've carry it along with me because it's a wonderful paperweight. There we go. It's holding something down. So stop spending your money. Hold on to it, because we're going to go into some bumpy financial times, and to have a little bit in reserve will be good for all of us. But go out and be the change that you want to see in the world. Remember that gratitude starts with you, and it starts within, and being grateful for you and your surroundings first, and then you can go out and give it to other people. Have a wonderful rest of your holiday weekend, and I hope that you do something great for yourself. And if you are someone where the holiday season is beginning to make you feel blue and you're having a little anxiety, or you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling like you might want to take your life, please get in contact with the suicide hotline, 988. I always have to look at it to make sure. Our 1-800-273-8255. I believe that number is still working. 988. And you can get to someone very quickly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-800-273-8255. Be good to yourself. Go out and hug a tree, pet a cat, pet a dog. Enjoy nature. Enjoy the humanity, because you know what? We're sharing the world with each other. So let's be kind, even if we don't want to be. Let's try. And then let's practice gratitude, because a gratitude attitude brings you happiness and joy, and it fuels good health and helps you to enjoy your life a little bit more. All right, you guys, have a good rest of the day. Be well. Peace.